Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring the really quite incredible career of Cate Blanchett. We're looking at the sources, the history, and trying to chart the almost architectural path she's taken.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. Our mission today is really to get past just listing awards. We want to dig into how she built this professional life step by step.
Exactly. How does someone become this powerhouse actor, but also a theater director, producer, and, well, a global citizen all at once?
Right. We're looking at the sheer range, obviously,
Yeah.
but also the record she holds, these kind of dual careers she manages, stage versus screen, art versus activism.
Yeah, it's less about like tabloid stuff and much more about the deliberate choices, the conscious decisions that, elevate someone from just being talented to being truly generation defining.
Precisely. So let's lay down some foundational facts for you. Catherine Elise Blanchett, born Melbourne, 1969, known everywhere, holds dual citizenship, Australia and the U.S.
And the awards. I mean, it's staggering.
It really is. 2 Academy Awards, 4 BAFTAs, 4 Golden Globes, and that's just scratching the surface. Hundreds of nominations and wins.
So that level of consistent quality, it really makes you want to look closer, doesn't it? We're trying to uncover the thinking behind it all. How did she go from intense Australian stage work to global film star while, running a major theater company and doing significant humanitarian work?
That's the core question.
Okay, let's dive into segment 1. From Melbourne wallflower to Australian stage star, her family background itself sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does, and you can almost see the duality starting there. Her mom, June, Australian, teacher, property developer, very grounded, right? But her dad, Robert DeWitt Blanchett Jr., he was American, from Texas.
Yeah.
U.S. Navy chief petty officer, then an advertising exec. Completely different world.
And how they met is just perfect. His ship broke down in Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got this blend, this American, maybe pragmatism, meeting Australian resilience right from the start.
But there was early tragedy, too.
Yes. Her father died very suddenly, a heart attack, when Cate was only 10, losing a parent that young. It's often mentioned as a really pivotal shaping experience for her.
Yeah, you can imagine. Maybe that explains how she described herself later. Part extrovert, part wallflower.
And the teenage experimentation, the goth phase, the punk phase, shaving her head.
Right. That desire to kind of outwardly transform, push boundaries.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the first hint of the performer to come.
Could be. But interestingly, her first plan wasn't acting at all. She went through the Melbourne school system, Ivanhoe East Primary, Ivanhoe Girls Grammar, Methodist Ladies College,
Okay.
and then enrolled at the University of Melbourne. But get this, for a Bachelor of Business Administration.
Business. Seriously, that's
Unexpected.
totally. Very practical, very non-arty. But she dropped out. And this is where, the planned life just takes a sharp turn.
So wait, how did she end up acting then? It wasn't a direct path.
Not at all. She dropped out of uni, was traveling, needed cash, and ended up in Egypt.
Yeah. Took a job as an extra playing an American cheerleader, of all things, in this 1990 Egyptian boxing movie called Caboria. Just needed the money.
Wow. That's about as accidental a start as you can get.
Isn't it? But maybe that little taste of being on set did something. Because when she got back to Australia, she didn't go back to business studies. She moved to Sydney.
And enrolled at NIDA.
Exactly. The National Institute of Dramatic Art.
And let's be clear for you listening. NID is the place in Australia. Think Mel Gibson, Judy Davis. It's the top tier. Graduating from there in '92 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts that signals serious training, serious classical grounding.
And the impact was immediate.
Yeah.
Unbelievably fast. Straight out of an idea in '92, her first professional stage role is Carol in David Mamet's Oleana, opposite Geoffrey Rush.
That's a challenging play to start with.
Hugely. And in the same year, she's also doing classical tragedy cast as Clytemnestra in Sophocles' Electra.
Yeah.
Then she actually stepped up to play Electra herself during rehearsals.
The range, right from day one.
And this leads to something pretty amazing in 1993. She sets a record. First actor ever in Australian theater history to win the Sydney Theatre Critics' Best Newcomer Award for a really experimental play, Kafka Dances.
Okay.
And Best Actress for Oleana, that gritty, modern, verbal sparring match. Both awards, same year.
Wow. Okay, so that tells you something fundamental. Oleana needs that sharp contemporary realism. Kafka Dances is what? Physical theater, abstract?
Exactly. So she wasn't just good. She was immediately versatile across totally different styles. She had the technique nailed right out of the gate.
And she kept honing the classical side, too.
Played Ophelia in Hamlet in 94 and 95, again, often with Rush. So she's mastering Shakespeare years before Hollywood really knows who she is. That stage foundation, that classical architecture, it's absolutely key to everything that follows on screen.
Okay, so that incredible Australian stage grounding really set her up for the next big phase, which is segment 2, Queen Elizabeth and the international launch, starting around 97.
Yeah, the move to screen was gradual at first, but seemed pretty deliberate. Little bits on Aussie TV Heartland in 94, Bordertown 95. Then her first feature film was Paradise Road in 97, a supporting role, building the CV.
But the role that really got the critics buzzing was her first lead, wasn't it? Oscar and Lucinda.
Absolutely, yeah. 1997, opposite Ralph Fiennes. That's when people really started saying, okay, who is this?
I remember the reviews.
Manuel Levy called her a luminous newcomer and basically predicted stardom right there.
Yeah.
Said she was bound to become a major star. When a big critic says that about your first lead.
It means something. And she was busy back home, too. Won her first AFI Best Actress Award for a rom-com, Thank God He Met Lizzie, that same year.
Right. So Oscar and Lucinda created the buzz, but the film that properly launched her internationally was, of course, Elizabeth in 1998.
Playing Queen Elizabeth I. Directed by Shikhar Kapoor, that was the one. Golden Glow, BAFTA win, first Oscar nomination. Suddenly, she's global.
And the role itself demanded so much transformation.
Yeah, it wasn't just putting on the costumes. Critics talked about how she built the character. David Rooney said she did it imperceptibly, showing that shift from this, uncertain young woman to the formidable virgin queen with real grace, poise, and intelligence.
But here's the really smart architectural move, I think. Straight after Elizabeth, she's suddenly this major historical figure actor, right? What does she do next?
Most actors would probably lean into that, do more period pieces.
Exactly. But she completely switches gears. 1999, she does Pushing Tin, a contemporary comedy about air traffic controllers.
Right. With John Cusack and Billy Bob Thornton.
And then, same year, the talented Mr. Ripley, critically acclaimed, another BAFTA nomination. So boom, boom, historical, epic, modern comedy, psychological thriller.
She's sending a message right away. Don't typecast me.
Totally. She's an actor, full stop. Capable of anything. And interestingly, she was already dipping her toes into producing back then.
Really? As early as 99?
Yeah, produced and acted in a short film called Bangers. Her husband, Andrew Upton, wrote and directed it. So that desire to, control the creative side, it was there from very early on.
Oh.
Which brings us nicely into segment 3, roughly 2001 to 2007. And this is where we see her masterfully balancing massive global blockbusters with really challenging artistic roles and setting that first Oscar record.
Okay, so the blockbuster side, you can't ignore The Lord of the Rings, right?
Absolutely not. Playing Galadriel in Peter Jackson's trilogy, the scale is just phenomenal.
What did those films gross worldwide? Something crazy.
Nearly $3 billion.
Yeah.
And they're still seen as, the pinnacle of fantasy filmmaking. So playing Galadriel made her instantly recognizable to literally billions of people. She became this fantasy icon.
But crucially, while she's being this ethereal elf queen, she's making completely different choices elsewhere. Deliberately, it seems.
Definitely. Look at 2001, she does Bandits, a crime comedy. Her first big comedy role, really.
And people noticed her comedic timing.
Oh, yeah. The BBC singled her out, said she was a real find as a comedian, called her performance unhinged, though undeniably sexy. That's about as far from Galadriel as you can get.
And then The Year After Heaven, that was intense.
Super intense. Directed by Tom Tykwer from a Kieslowski script, playing a woman who commits this act of terrorism out of grief. The New York Times called it her most compelling screen performance up to that point. Praised the raw emotion. So she's actively pushing her own boundaries, not just relying on the big hits.
The range in just those few years is wild. She did Jim Jarmusch's Coffee and Cigarettes, playing 2 different characters.
And Veronica Guerin, that biographical film. Very raw again.
Which leads us to 2004 and The Aviator.
Directed by Scorsese, playing Katharine Hepburn. And this is where she wins her first Oscar, Best Supporting Actress.
And sets that really specific, almost unbelievable record.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? She becomes the first actor ever to win an Academy Award for playing another Academy Award-winning actor. It's like peak acting inception or something.
It speaks volumes about the preparation, right? What did Scorsese ask her to do?
He was serious about getting Hepburn right. Apparently, he had her watch 35mm prints of Hepburn's first 15 films. Not just DVDs, like proper prints.
Wow. So she's studying the physicality, the voice, everything from the original source.
Exactly. She said herself it was very daunting
Yeah.
trying to represent Kate Hepburn and Froome, the same medium she existed in.
And meanwhile, she's still investing back home in Australia. her production company Dirty Films with Andrew Upton.
Right. In 2005, she wins the AFI Best Actress Award for Little Fish, which Dirty Films also co-produced. So she's maintaining that connection, nurturing the local industry alongside the global career.
Which all builds towards 2007. That was just an incredible year for her, cinematically.
Unbelievable. 2 Oscar nominations in the same year. But look at the roles. Best Actress for playing Elizabeth again in Elizabeth, The Golden Age.
Reprising the role.
And Best Supporting Actress for playing Jude Quinn, one of the Bob Dylan figures in I'm Not There.
Think about that for a second, the technical jump. From playing 16th century English royalty, all formal and historical, to embodying this like androgynous 60s counterculture folk icon in the same year.
It's an astonishing display of range, and it led to those 2 Oscar records. Getting nominated twice in 1 year and being the first actress nominated twice for playing the same character, Elizabeth I.
Roger Ebert summed it up perfectly, didn't he?
He did. That Blanchett could appear, playing Elizabeth and Bob Dylan, both splendidly, is a wonder of acting. It's not just talent at that point, it's total mastery.
Okay, so segment 4, roughly 2008 to 2016. This phase is maybe the most unique part of her career structure because she's juggling global film stardom with running a major theater company.
Right. From 2008 to 2013, she and Andrew Upton are co-CEOs and artistic directors of the Sydney theater company, the STC.
And this wasn't just like a figurehead role, was it?
Not at all. This was proper leadership. Managing budgets, fundraising, setting the artistic vision for one of Australia's biggest arts organizations. It's a massive corporate and creative job, all while still making movies.
It honestly sounds impossible, but the work they produced at STC during that time was world-class.
Absolutely. Their productions toured internationally and got rave reviews. Think about 2009. She plays Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire, directed by Liv Ullmann, no less.
And that production went to the U.S., didn't it? Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Yep. And the critics went wild. Jane Fonda saw it and called it perhaps the greatest stage performance I have ever seen.
That's high praise.
It doesn't get much higher. John Lahr in The New Yorker basically said he never expected to see a better Blanche Dubois in his lifetime.
Wow. And then she did Chekhov, too.
2011, Uncle Vanya, played Yelena, toured internationally again. Ben Brantley at The New York Times wrote that she confirms her status as one of the best and bravest actresses on the planet, being called brave for tackling Chekhov. That says something.
And this directorship period allowed her to weave in her other passions too, right? The environmental stuff.
Yes, the Greenie the Wharf program at STC. This is a fantastic example of her using that leadership position.
So what did it involve? It wasn't just putting out recycling bins, presumably.
No. It was major infrastructure. Installing huge solar panel arrays on the theater's roof, massive rainwater harvesting systems, completely overhauling waste management for the whole building.
Why would a theater company do all that?
Because she and Upton made it a priority. They used their influence to say, our art needs to be sustainable, ethically, and environmentally. It connected her public advocacy for the environment with concrete action within an institution she led. And it won awards, like a Green Globe Award.
That's impressive integration. And all this while she's still doing massive blockbusters?
Yep. 2008, she's the villain Irina Spalko in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Huge hit. Nearly $800 million worldwide.
And she reprised Galadriel for the Hobbit trilogy.
Right. Apparently, Peter Jackson specifically added the character back into the story, partly because they really wanted her involved. That shows her star power.
So this combination of stage cred, environmental action, and box office clout sets the stage for her second Oscar win.
Exactly. 2013 Blue Jasmine, Woody Allen film.
And the performance was just universally lauded. People called it maybe the best thing she'd ever done.
Mark Kermode's analogy was great, like a peak fitness runner facing a marathon.
Yeah.
It was this incredibly demanding portrayal of a total psychological collapse, holding on to this facade of grandeur.
Technically, what made it so hard?
Just the sheer emotional and physical commitment, I think. Living that breakdown, that spiral, convincingly for the whole film, it required absolute control and absolute abandon at the same time.
And winning Best Actress for that made her the first Australian to win 2 acting Oscars.
And only the 6th actress ever to win in both lead and supporting categories. Joins a very elite club.
There was controversy around the director at the time, though. How did she handle that when accepting the award?
She addressed it, yeah, carefully. Acknowledged, the power of social media in the Me Too conversation, but she emphasized that platforms like that are not the judge and jury.
Right.
Her point was that these serious allegations need to go into court to establish legal facts and protect people properly. She was basically advocating for due process over immediate public verdict. It was quite a measured statement in a heated moment.
And she didn't slow down artistically after that win either. Carol in 2015.
Gorgeous film. She executive produced and gave that incredibly nuanced performance. Got another Oscar nomination. Many people consider it one of her absolute best roles.
And then something completely different again, Manifesto.
Oh, Manifesto. That was 2015 as well. Julian Rosefeld's art installation film. She played 13 different characters. Yep. From a homeless man to a news anchor to a school teacher, each one delivering lines from famous art manifestos. It was just pure technical brilliance. The New York Times called it an absolutely stunning tour de force, showed she was still hungry for really experimental, performance-driven work, even at the absolute peak of her fame. So, segment 5 takes us into the modern era, say 2017 to now. And here we really see her leveraging that producer role, conquering Broadway, and making major moves in prestige TV.
Right, the stage power continued. She made her Broadway debut in 2017.
In the present, based on Chekhov, earned her a Tony nomination straight off the bat, proved she could command a Broadway stage just as powerfully as London or Sydney.
And then she entered the Marvel Universe.
Yep, 2017, Hela, the goddess of death in Thor. Ragnarok. Smart move, strategically.
How so?
Well, it plants her flag firmly in the biggest cinematic universe going, ensures she's relevant to that huge global audience, helps a film like Ragnarok get critical respect alongside its massive box office, what was it, $854 million.
Wow. And then she followed that with Ocean's 8 in 2018.
Right, the all-female ensemble heist movie. Her presence just adds a layer of gravitas to these big commercial projects.
But the really interesting shift, maybe, is seeing her production company, Dirty Films, become a major force, especially in TV, and connecting it back to her activism.
Exactly. Look at Stateless in 2020. Australian drama about immigration detention. She co-created it, executive produced it, had a guest role.
And the inspiration came directly from her UNHCR work.
Explicitly, she said so. It's a perfect example of using her industry power, her capital, her platform, to create work that tackles issues she cares deeply about. It's architecture again.
Yeah.
Building bridges between her roles.
And in the same year, she does Mrs. America.
Phenomenal series, FX miniseries. She headlines as Phyllis Schlafly, the conservative activist who fought against the Equal Rights Amendment, and she produced it too.
That was a fascinating choice for her, wasn't it? Playing someone whose political views seem pretty much the opposite of her own public stances.
Yeah, requires real skill and empathy to embody that kind of figure authentically without caricature. And the critics recognized that. The New York Times pointed to her final scene, wordless and devastating.
Got nominations for everything, right? Emmy,
Yeah.
Golden Globes, SAG.
Yep. Proved she could dominate prestige TV just as easily as film. And cementing that power, Dirty Films now has first-look deals with New Republic Pictures for movies and FX for TV. So they're set up to keep producing high-level stuff across the board.
And here's a stat that really shows her consistent quality and influence. In 2021, she broke a long-standing Hollywood record.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
She starred in 2 films nominated for Best Picture that year, Nightmare Alley and Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Doing that meant she surpassed Olivia de Havilland for the most credited roles by a female actor in Best Picture nominees ever.
Wow. That says a lot about her choices, doesn't it? It means the projects she picks, the roles she gets, are consistently considered among the very best films being made, year after year. It's not just acting skill, it's incredible discernment.
And all that leads, almost inevitably, to Tár in 2022.
The Tár phenomenon.
Yeah.
Playing Lydia Tár, that fictional, brilliant, deeply flawed conductor, it became a massive cultural talking point.
And hailed as another career highlight for her.
Absolutely. The Hollywood Reporter called it an astonishing performance and suggested it might be her greatest. The technical skill involved learning conducting, the German language, plus the incredibly complex exploration of power, genius, cancellation. It was extraordinary.
And the awards followed again. 4th Golden Globe, 4th BAFTA.
And her 8th Oscar nomination, which ties her, I think, 4th overall for the most nominated actress in history. She's just operating at this insanely high level consistently.
Okay, so segment 6. Let's shift the focus fully now to her role as a global citizen, her activism, her humanitarian work, because it's clearly not just a side project for her, it's woven into the fabric of her career.
Yeah, the environmental advocacy goes way back. It's not a recent thing. She joined Al Gore's climate project in 2006. And became an ambassador for the Australian Conservation Foundation in 2007. Later got honorary life membership.
And she hasn't shied away from tricky policy stuff either, like publicly supporting a carbon tax in Australia.
Right, which wasn't universally popular, obviously. But it shows her commitment isn't just about, celebrity endorsements. She's willing to engage in actual political debate.
And as we mentioned, that STC period was key with the Greening the Wharf project, taking institutional responsibility.
Exactly, turning advocacy into action within her own organization. And it's ongoing since 2020. She's been on the Council for Prince William's Earthshot Prize, trying to find and fund real environmental solutions.
She even launched her own podcast on it, Climate of Change.
Yeah, in 2022.
Yeah.
Dedicating a whole platform just to talking about the climate crisis.
But interestingly, the sources also mention a real-world complication here, the Eco House project in Cornwall.
Ah, yes. She and Andrew Upton are building this sustainable home in Cornwall, England. But it's caused some local friction, hasn't it?
Yeah, reports in 2023, 2024 about neighbors objecting to construction noise, the scale of the development.
It's a useful reminder, isn't it, that even for someone deeply committed to sustainability, translating those big ideals into actual on-the-ground projects can run into very real, practical, community-level challenges, the friction between the vision and the reality.
Okay, shifting to her humanitarian work. Her role with the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, seems incredibly significant.
It really does. Started working with them in 2015, appointed a Global Goodwill Ambassador in 2016.
And this involves serious field work, right? Not just appearances.
Definitely. She's traveled extensively to Jordan, Lebanon, meeting Syrian refugees, to Bangladesh, meeting Rohingya refugees who fled Myanmar. These aren't quick visits. They're about understanding the situation firsthand and bringing attention to these crises.
And she's used that platform at the highest levels, addressing the UN Security Council in 2018.
Yeah, about the Rohingya crisis. That's using her unique position, her global recognition, to speak directly to world leaders about atrocities. It's powerful.
And she made it very personal in that speech, didn't she?
She did. She talked about seeing her own children reflected in the eyes of the refugee children she met. That ability to connect the global crisis to a very human parental emotion makes her advocacy incredibly effective, very relatable.
And on the personal side, just briefly married to Andrew Upton since '97, 4 kids.
3 sons. And they adopted a daughter in 2015, which she'd apparently wanted to do for a long time.
And there's that interesting detail she prefers the term actor to actress.
Yeah, it feels consistent with her focus on the craft, the technique, rather than being defined by gender.
She's also spoken out quite a bit about wider issues, hasn't she? Concerns about, like, a wave of conservatism affecting women's rights.
And the pressures women face in Hollywood, the focus on appearance, the idea of a use by date. She seems willing to critique the system, even while operating so successfully within it.
All right, let's pull it all together in segment 7. Style, legacy, and accolades. What's the overall picture?
Well, the consensus is pretty clear. She's considered one of the absolute finest, most versatile actors working today. Full stop.
And the technical skill is always mentioned, especially the accents.
Oh, yeah. Her mastery of accents is legendary. English, Irish, French, all sorts of American regional dialects. She seems to have this incredible ear and the technical discipline to nail almost anything. She can convincingly belong anywhere, anytime.
There was that great description in Vulture magazine, what was it, about her key skill.
Ah, yeah, that was good. They said her greatest skill was combining relatability and elusiveness.
Explain that a bit.
Like, she can feel incredibly human and present in a role, someone you connect with, but there's often also something held back, something you can't quite grasp. It makes her performances really compelling, keeps you watching. Mesmerizing is a good word.
And the official honors reflect that huge CV, right? Both in Australia and internationally.
Absolutely. Companion of the Order of Australia, that's the highest civilian honor back home. Chevalier of the Order of Arts and Letters in France.
The BFI Fellowship in the UK in 2015. Sir Ian McKellen presented that one.
Right. And honorary doctorates from 3 Australian universities. So recognition not just from the film world, but from government, cultural institutions, academia.
And commercially, she's a powerhouse. Empire magazine put her in their 50 greatest actors list in 2022. And the box office numbers.
Staggering. As of 2019, her films had grossed over $9.8 billion worldwide. That kind of commercial clout gives you enormous freedom and influence.
And she's clearly not slowing down, still mixing it up with recent projects like the miniseries Disclaimer, upcoming stuff like a sci-fi comedy Alpha Gang, and even heading back to the stage for Chekhov's The Seagull in 2025.
So if you're trying to summarize this career architecture, Is someone who reached the absolute peak in global cinema, mastering everything from blockbusters to intense indie dramas. But simultaneously, she committed deeply to classical theater, even running a major company, then pivoted seamlessly into producing and starring in high-end political television. And threaded through all of that is this consistent, visible commitment to major global issues, humanitarian crises, climate change, using her platform very deliberately.
So the takeaway for you listening, think about that dual impact. Cate Blanchett's enduring relevance isn't just about that incredible $9.8 billion box office figure. It's equally about how she has consciously, architecturally applied that influence to things like the refugee crisis and climate action.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. For an actor who is now so established as a producer, an artistic director, an activist, where does her most profound impact lie in the next decade? Is it still primarily through creating characters on screen? Or is her most significant legacy now being built by actively shaping the real world through advocacy, through leadership, through production choices?
Based on the architecture we've seen, it feels like that real-world shaping might be becoming the dominant structure, a truly fascinating career to dissect.
Absolutely. A deep dive indeed.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.